Alright, yeah, welcome to Gwent. So, we are finally into the game, and I'm going to be showing you a deck that I've been playing around with in casual just to get some ranks. It's very much a budget deck. It's a little bit of an offshoot from the Skellige starter deck, because I don't have all the cards just yet, so for the time being, I'm going to be showing a fair bit of budget decks for any series we put out, but I will eventually manage to grind all of the good cards out, and we should be able to show you something insanely decent that you can maybe take into ranked. Anyway, we're going to play Savage Damage deck. So this is a Skellige deck that is based around Savage Bear. So Savage Bear is a cursed beast that damages each enemy that appears by 1. So every single time our opponent plays a unit, it gets damaged by 1. And we benefit from that in a few ways. One, because of the advantage of essentially debuffing all of our opponent's units, but also because of the Clan Search Axeman. That is Veteran 1, which means at the starts of rounds 2 and 3, you get to strengthen it by 1. If it's in your hand, deck, or graveyard. So it gets essentially progressively better as the game goes on anyway. However, whenever an enemy is damaged, boost itself by 1. So this guy gets larger every single time something's damaged. So if your opponent's going for a swarm strategy and they play it into the Savage Bear, then you're going to hit every single one of their creatures and get quite the little bit of a boost. We also have a number of ways of damaging ourselves as well. Well, damaging our opponent's stuff for ourselves. Things like the Clan Brockvar Archer with Veteran 1, so it comes into play as a 6 on rounds 2 and 3, or a 6 and a 7 in future rounds. And when you deploy it, you damage 3 different units by 1, which essentially boosts up the Axeman as well. We're mostly here just to kind of outvalue our opponent though, so when we get our Savage Bears out, we do have ways of getting them out immediately. So if they're not in our opening hand on the first turn, we can actually use Crack on Crate, which is our leader. So when you spawn Crack on Crate, you get yourself a 4 power leader, gold card as well, so you can't really be touched. And the deployability plays the highest loyal bronze or silver unit in your deck. So on turn 1, that is always going to be a Savage Bear. Once you go into future rounds though, it does have with Veteran, there is a bit of a debuff nombo there. You can have a chance of hitting something like this, so you've got to be wary of that. But for the most part, you want to be able to just Crack on Crate out a Savage Bear. Once the bear's out, then it'll start doing its work, and we want to be able to buff this as well. So we've got things like the Clan Tordorok Shieldsmith with Veteran 1, so it boosts itself. And you strengthen an ally by 2, and strengthening essentially means it's a permanent buff to the power. So even if this goes into the graveyard after it dies or after the round ends, the buff still stays there. So we want to actually pump up the bear as much as possible so that when we use things like Priestess of Freya, which allows us to resurrect a bronze unit, we can resurrect a bear in our graveyard that might be maybe 13 base power, that kind of thing. We also have Holger Blackhand as well, comes with the starter deck. Most of this deck, I should note as well, is budget, as I mentioned. So the things you get in your starter deck, Triss Marigold, one of your golds, Holger Blackhand, I do believe you get Cleaver as well as part of your starter. You get Royal Decree. So all of the golds and silvers that we're using are actually part of the starter as far as I'm aware. I can't quite remember what was in here. So mainly you just have to buy the bronzes in order to build this deck. And it's been doing quite well for me anyway. So there are things, of course, you can upgrade. We are missing silvers and golds in our deck, but I've only just started out, so maybe after the pack opening video, I should have some cards ready and ready to go, so we'll see. Anyway, so that's essentially the baseline of the deck. We also have the Clan Drummond Shield Maiden, so Veteran 1, so they get boosted each round. And when you deploy the Shield Maiden, you damage a unit by 2, so it synergizes quite well with our Axeman. And you also get to play a Shield Maiden from your deck if the thing that you damaged was already damaged. So if you manage to hit a damaged unit, which is almost guaranteed with a Savage Bear on the field, then she comes out, hits something, spawns another one, she comes out, hits something, spawns the final one, which also damages. So there's a really nice point swing with the Shield Maidens. You only ever want one of these in your hand. You want to make sure that you're getting full value out of them and they don't draw into them in the later game. Because if you have 2 in your hand, then you've just essentially lost card advantage in a sense. So onto the special cards anyway. It's mostly special as well, is Yennefer the Conjurer. I opened one of these up in one of my packs. This is the only thing that's not part of the starter pack, as far as I'm aware. That's obviously not bronze as well. Every turn, at the start of your turn, damage all the highest enemies by 1. So she comes out as 4 power, and she's untouchable, being gold. You need to use something like a Dimeritium Shackles to turn a silver in order to deal with that. And she damages every single enemy. Also, if the enemies are tied at the highest enemies, then she'll hit more than 1, which means that these axemen get boosted as well every single turn, thanks to Yennefer. We have Royal Decree, so that we can go grab Yennefer in a future turn. So if we maybe throw round 1 or something like that, or maybe we even win round 1 and we want to put the pressure on, we can actually use Royal Decree, or even if we have Yennefer in hand, start the game off with a Yennefer in play, which forces our opponents to play into Yennefer, getting damaged constantly. And if we're already winning, then they're forced to keep playing through it, so she gets full value if you're up a game when you play her, which is pretty sweet. We then have Scorch as well, because of course Yennefer does hit the highest enemy, and maybe they've been boosting a single unit for quite some time. We use Scorch in order to get rid of their biggest unit, and if they're tied, we destroy more than 1 as well. We then have Decoy. Return an ally to your hand and strengthen it by 3 and play it again. So we can use Decoy to reuse any card that's on the field at any given time, as long as it's not a gold. We can't replay gold. So if we've got a Savage Bear in hand, maybe we want to use Holgear to damage a unit by 5, so that if it gets destroyed, then we get to strengthen our Savage Bear, which is probably the highest unit in our graveyard at the time, strengthen it by 3 again. So we keep constantly boosting up the Savage Bear. We could do this twice with a Decoy, for example. We can also decoy a Priestess of Freya, so that we can get a Savage Bear and then an Axeman, maybe in a future turn, so we get our little combo together as well. There's plenty of synergies there. Maybe even the Shieldsmith to pump up a Savage Bear that's already there on the field. We could get this as high as like a 20 if we're really working hard enough. So there is that. I don't think we touched upon Cleaver. Cleaver allows you to toggle a unit's lock, essentially. So if your opponent has a card that is quite difficult to deal with, lock essentially disables all of its abilities and prevents it from doing anything useful, essentially. So if they've maybe put a Rot Tosser that we can't deal with, Rot Tossers are fine though, because the cow can be dealt with our archers quite easily, so that's perfectly fine. We deal with Nilfgaard in that kind of way quite well. But locking anything else, something that might have a timer we can't deal with in time, we can stop that timer from going down. We can stop certain things from having certain effects as well. We then have a First Light here. It's just for clearing the skies eventually, and it can also be used as a rally as well, which allows us to play a random bronze unit from our deck, which could be absolutely anything, to be honest, but everything has a nice little synergy here and there. You probably don't want to hit a Shield Maiden off of the clear skies, unless, of course, you don't have one in your hand, and then you can chain these together, and that's pretty sweet. But hitting a Priestess of Freya is also really good, because then we just get to pull something back from our graveyard. But it's mostly here for the clear skies, because once we start boosting stuff up, we don't really want weather taking out our Savage Bears. We can keep them on the field with strengthening effects, but it's still taking away points, so we're keeping one around just in case for certain matchups as well. We then have Alzo's Thunder. Nice little bit of removal, damages any unit that we want by 7 as well. Synergizes with the Axeman, because when we damage a unit, that gets buffed up, which is pretty sweet. Finally, we've got Stammelford Tremors. Only running one copy of this, because I don't see it being too useful in every single matchup. It allows us to damage up to 8 random enemies by 2. So, for full value, our opponent really needs to be swarming the board, so this is really good for the later game kind of strategies. But damaging 8 enemies by 2, not only does that do quite a lot of a point difference as well for a single card, but every single unit that gets damaged also gives a buff to that Axeman. So that's essentially the deck. Without further ado, let's get into the matches. I will see you there.
You want peace? Fight for it. For Skellige's glory!
Alright, so we're against Henselt. I don't think I've actually gone against him since I started playing, now that I think about it. Let's have a look what we've got here. So we've got ourselves a Shield Maiden. It's not too bad. Savage Bear in hand is pretty sweet too. And a Yennefer. We might want Yennefer later. I don't see too much wrong with this. We might try a Priestess of Freya, though, different. We don't want a Shield Maiden. And we don't really want Stammer for Tremors either, actually. Did we get another Axeman? It looks like it. Right, we're on the play, which is perfectly fine. It allows us to lead off with a Savage Bear and get value right out the gate. So, Henselt allows our opponent to choose a bronze ally and play all copies of it from their deck, which is interesting. So they might be going for that swarm strategy. The only reason I got rid of Stammer for Tremors there is because we'll probably draw into it later. We get a mulligan and 2 draws next round, and then another draw and another mulligan, so we've got plenty of opportunities to find it. It's quite a low variance game with 25 cards per deck, so it's pretty sweet for that. Just because I mulligan something away doesn't mean we're not going to see it ever again. Okay, leads off with...
Trident!
Ooh. Trident Infantryman. That's a little bit annoying because the armor actually slows us down somewhat. Because we can't damage it right now. So we could lead off with the Axeman just to get that little bit of damage in. He also has 2 armor, so he dodges a few things here and there as well, including our opponent's own Savage Bears if they ever had them, but they're in the wrong faction, of course. Let's go off with an Axeman, I guess. Stick him on the ranged row. So any unit that doesn't have armor entering the field is going to boost up the Axeman. So let's see what our opponent wants to do.
Best give up now!
Ah, more armor. Well, that's annoying. How do we want to proceed here? Well, we can actually use the Shield Maiden. Hits this unit, damaging it once, enough to get all of the Shield Maidens out.
Our shields are our armor!
This guy doesn't do too much. Oh, it was already damaged. No, misplay. Yeah, well. This guy doesn't do anything without armor anyway, so...
You'll suffer the consequences
That is
of your
useful.
foolishness.
Philippa, Isleheart, damages 5 enemies and then essentially wipes our board. Interesting. So we could crack on crate to get another Savage Bear out. That would be a 10-point play, taking us to 11. Well, then our opponent probably just passes, because why not? And then we're forced to use something like a Scorch to kill this dude. Ugh. Yeah, this did not go to plan, unfortunately. Maybe we'll just pass. Yeah, let's just pass. Well, that was an unfortunate round. We threw it a little bit there, I'll be honest. So he takes round 1, but it's not over. We have Veteran in most of our cards as well, so everything gets a boost for going later into the round. Priestess of Freya gets back a Savage Bear. Everything gets a buff. Let's see. What do we want to get rid of? Maybe 1 Priestess. Do we need more than 1? We've got an Axeman in hand, so... Stammer for Tremors, there it is. It's back. Okay, so our opponent won the round, so they're going first. I don't really know what they're doing, but... Henselt just kind of seems like a swarm kind of strategy, but then again, he's played every single armor card under the sun, as well as Philippa, who's done quite a lot. Won that game on her own, really. So what's his leading play?
Tomfoolery! Enough!
Vesemir. Okay. Vesemir is interesting. I think we'll go get the Savage Bear. The sooner it's out, the better. Then we can also start strengthening it as well.
Modron Freyr is patient, but she brooks no insult.
Get out our Savage Bear. Equal on cards, 10 points behind. So I think we're going to start sticking loads of strength onto our Savage Bear. What's in our graveyard? Because we can decoy
I told you so, you idiot.
an Axeman back. So we end up damaging the Reaver Scout. He has no target, so there's no value there for him. I don't really want to play out an Axeman because he could just pass and we don't really get any value from the Savage Bear. Which is why I kind of just really want to pump it up. It also risks us getting scorched, but then again, we have a decoy with our Priestess of Freya. So I think we'll lead off with our Shieldsmith.
Barrels of burning pitch.
Take him up to 8 base strength. If we can ever resurrect this, then all of the work that we've been putting forward is going to be fine. And he passes, so I'm happy to just Shieldsmith again.
Out with the crowns. Come on, quick now.
Takes it up to a 10. We're adding value for a future round. We just really hope to draw some more resurrection, which Crack on Crate could get us. So mulligan for a Priestess. Oh, we'll get one anyway. Okay. And everything gets a buff. Is Scorch going to be useful here if we've got Stammerford Tremors? Scorch is usually good, but we're going to be pumping up our Axeman most likely. I think I'll mulligan that. An Archer, actually, is not too bad. Right, lead off with the Priestess of
Bow
Freya.
before Modron Freyr.
Get back a 10 strength Savage Bear. Pass the turn back. If he Scorches, we've got a decoy for our Priestess to get back the Savage Bear again.
Thank not me. Thank Melitele.
Okay, going for some resurrection, or is it sticking back into your deck? I think it puts them back into your deck, doesn't it? Shuffle 3 cards from your graveyard into your deck. Yeah, it's an interesting one. Neneke. Right, let's start with our Axeman, I think. Yeah, I think it's Axeman into Yennefer, and then we'll start just using our archers.
For blood!
I will not let this become a second Sodom.
Triss Merigold. Hits our Axeman down to 1. If they want to kill him, that's fine. Right, I think it's Yennefer now.
There'll be nothing to pick up when I'm done with you.
So every turn, she deals damage to the highest enemies, which is going to buff the Axeman back up again. Maybe get him out of removal range, depending on what they're doing here. And if he goes to remove him,
your will be done, son.
Priestess does his thing. Torrential Rain on our Axeman row. Okay, is Rain the... let's have a look. The lowest units by 2. Interesting. Well, we can keep him alive with one of our archers. Fortunately, we have to hit one of our own units to do it. What's Crack on Crate gonna hit? Priestess of Freya, another archer, and another Savage Bear. Yeah, I think we'll play him. Play him in that row. Goes with an archer. Sweet. Bam, bam, and stick it on the bear. So we want our opponent to go as wide as possible so that Stamina for Tremors does as much as possible. Okay. Gets all of his witches back. All of them get damaged, which boosts up our Axeman. Yennefer hits one of them again. Next turn, she's going to be able to hit both of these two unless he plays something else. In fact, I could use our archer to hit that, and that. And then if he doesn't play anything 4 or higher, all of them get hit. What's in our graveyard? An Axeman would be good. Although Shield Maiden, now that I think about it, hits you, you, and you, getting out a fair bit, but it does go onto the ranged row and we don't have clear weather. So there's a bit of time to go from then, so I think we'll go with the archer.
By the rates of Morehawk.
1, 2, and... might keep you around, actually, for the Tremors. Yeah, nice little boost. The more units on their side, the better for the Tremors.
I told you so, you idiot.
Hits it, gets a boost. Hits everything, gets a big boost. Okay. Archer's not really good here. Because Archer takes... unless we take these guys off anyway, it takes a fair few off of the next hit. Decoy... for another Axeman then, I guess. This is doing a lot of work. Yeah, decoy the Priestess of Freya. Bring her back, play her again.
Before modern Freya.
Should have probably done this a while ago. Let's get the Axeman. Play you on the front row though. Keep you out of that rain.
Regroup.
Hits some of the armor off. Yennefer hits the last bit of armor. So I guess we just go for another archer. And then wait on him to do whatever he does as to get the Stamina for Tremors as big as possible.
By Henselt's axe.
Hit you. And we'll just hit the witches. It's a nice little boost, up to 62. Our opponent's really far behind, but they do have card advantage. That being said, Stamina for Tremors. Stamina for Tremors is going to hit for 16. Then it's also going to buff as well. So here we go. From 64 and 27 up to 80 and 13. They've got 2 cards in hand. This one does get to play all copies out of his deck, so there is some value there, but... Geralt Igni takes 19 from us. Still at 61 though. And we hit them again, boosting our Axeman. Even through a punt on round 1, I think we've easily done this.
Men of Kedwen, attack!
Grabs his Reavers, who are also going to get hit.
To whimper. This is no time to whimper.
Which boosts ours. 67 to 38. That's game. Awesome. Let's try play a little bit better next round, so we don't necessarily lose as hard. Anyway, let's go on to the next game.
Do not test my patience.
You've got the heart of an uncrate.
Radovid. Kind of a bad matchup for us, actually. It hits our Savage Bears quite badly. So we've got one in hand. We want to find our Cleaver so that we can unlock another Priestess of Freya. We don't need 3. Decoy. And a Shieldsmith. We didn't get Cleaver. And our opponent's on the play, so the Savage Bear's not going to get a hit on the first thing that comes down. Reinforced Trebuchet. So we could just Triss that off the board. We could also go with our Shield Maidens as well. Dealing 2, but it needs to be damaged first, unfortunately, for that to work out. Interesting. Crack on Cleric could get a Savage Bear out of our deck as well. Since we've got a Priestess of Freya, we don't really want to draw one. So if we are going to play a Savage Bear, we might as well do Crack on Crate. And then we can deal with the Trebuchet after that. So I want to get this value down as soon as possible. Yeah, let's do that. Yep, right there. Savage Bear. Boosts it and damages it. Take it to 7, which is already a point above where it starts anyway, so we also get a nice little boosted one.
Long live the king!
Redinian Elite. Oh dear. That also sucks. Okay, I think we're going to Triss Marigold, take down the Trebuchet. Other than our bear, our board is largely untouchable. Opponents spreading out their Redinian Elites. Don't really want to kill them or take their armor off, to be honest, because they get a boost for it. Where do we lead from here, then? All this armor. Doing my head in. We don't want to go all in on one bear, because he's got Radovid. And we want to kind of hold one off as well, because we've only got 2 Savage Bears in our deck, and we'd have to find Cleaver to unlock them if he ever did that. Let's go with... Let's get our Axeman down then. See what we can do with that. Try to bait out Radovid.
For that battle.
Removes the armor from one of the elites. From both the elites. That sucks. Could really use a Scorch, but we don't have one or have a way to get one. Really want to get the Shield Maiden played as soon as possible as well, because I don't want to draw into them. So you're actually 9 strength currently. Can make you an 11, a 12 in the graveyard for next round. Yeah, let's do that.
So what? Should I pound it into a poker?
That being said, Radovid's around. So we need to find Cleaver. Philippa! Yeah, Philippa just tends to win around all by herself, doesn't she? Okay, I think it's just pass here. Our opponent won the round, so they play first. They're already at a card disadvantage, but they do have their leader ability, which is kind of a big hoser for us, unfortunately. Let's pass. I don't think we're winning this round. And I'm not sure playing anything in our hand right now helps us either. So let's hope for some good draws. That is a bad draw. Cleaver. Good, good, good. Okay, we mulligan one of the Shield Maidens. Opponent's choosing what to mulligan. We got ourselves an Alzur's Thunder. Decent control card, I suppose. A Drought. Oh, you've got to be kidding me. 11 points Savage Bear. We have to win this round. This is the thing. So Drought hits one of the lowest units on the row by 2. So our Priestess is dying as soon as we cast that. We have to win though, and I don't think we can. Priestess of Freya, just try and get a Savage Bear down. This is a really bad matchup for us. Without clear skies in hand as well, it sucks.
I've no interest in politics.
Okay. Let's throw a rally. Redinian Knight as well.
Troops!
Lead, sorry. Yeah. Well, we can get the Shield Maidens out by killing Ms. Tarnsville here.
Our shields are our ramparts! Give them no rest, no reprieve!
Unfortunately, they're all going to take 2, and they're not going to last very long. Radovid.
Do not test my patience.
Blocking our bear, killing one of our Shield Maidens on our turn. One of them takes 2. So we can Cleaver and unlock the Savage Bear.
Snitches get stitches.
But through this drought, I don't think we stand a chance. Goes for another rally. It's another armor guy who perfectly hoses our Savage Bear. We lose the Shield Maiden. The bear takes a hit. We do have a backup bear. We could also decoy our bear as well, so that we have an additional one. Yeah, I think that's what we're gonna have to do. Reset its strength and give it a little boost. It's back up to 14.
What can I do for you?
What do you do? Reset a unit and toggle its lock. Ah! No, we should have saved the decoy for Cleaver. Well, we've got a backup there. He seems to really care about our bears.
I told you
which is
so,
a good
you
thing.
idiot.
All the same, though, we're not getting a particular amount of value from our bear because we don't have our axemen around. Okay,
By the
Archer.
rights of Morhog.
Hit you, and hit you. We're a point ahead. It's about to be a lot less than that, though. Technically, 3 points behind. And he passes. He's going to let us have this round. It's going to cost us a card. So we tied on cards. He's locked down our Savage Bear, unfortunately, our good one anyway. We've got Tremors backing us up. So I think we just Alzo's Thunder. The Infantryman. He takes 6, goes down to 21. And then we take 4 down to 20. Damn. No, he's won. He has actually won. So this is going to cost us more than 1 card. He's passed. Comes back to us. And then we're forced to use our Archer.
Keep together.
Down to 22. We've got Stamford Tremors in our hand, which doesn't really do anything against these 2 cards. And an empty board. So we're going to have to get a lucky draw and a mulligan on this Tremors. Yennefer. Get rid of the Tremors. Could have used that ages ago. Alright, Yennefer comes down.
Just yield now!
Trebuchet hits nothing, and we hit it. Come on, rally. Rally for something good.
Out with the crowns.
I think
Come
that's
on,
game.
quick now.
What do you want of me?
Oh yeah, that's definitely game.
You one of us or not?
It's a medic.
You must sweat like a swine in that jacket.
Swaps that out for another trebuchet. Up to 11. Goes down to 10. We pass. He plays whatever his final card is that he doesn't have to.
Damn it.
We held on, but there's not much hope for us there. 19 to 8. That drought, man. Without that drought, we probably would have won. GG, sir. Alright. Alright, guys, that's going to do it for today's deck. So, as the first Gwent video, it is imperative that you show your support if you really want to see more Gwent in the future. So, you can do that by liking and subscribing, leaving a comment down below, all of that jazz. Don't forget to hit that little bell icon as well, right next to the subscription button, and you'll get notified when future Gwent videos come up. I think I'll do another video with this deck, and then we might move on from there. I'm not really sure about the format for Gwent at the moment, but it's all dependent on whether or not you guys are enjoying the content and you want to see more of it. So if you do want to see more, it's in your best interest to like and subscribe. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.